So I know that you have had a long fascination with Sonia Delanunay, haven't you? I didn't meet her through you until about 14, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
So when did you first come across Sonia?
Wow. So when I was studying at university,
Right.
1979, 78, I spent most of the year in Paris.
Yeah, you said.
Rather than being in Warwick.
Well, I'd have to.
You know.
I'd have to go with you on that.
As one does.
Yeah.
As one does.
Definitely.
And I found myself in the Tokyo Museum, Musée de Tokyo or whatever, near the Eiffel Tower, and found an exhibition of Sonia's husband. But I was more interested in her work in a little side room. And it just started a fascination with her life and work. Right up to the present day, because she was an amazing artist. She worked with some of the great poets. She made books with Apollinaire's poetry.
Yes, that's
all her drawings and paintings behind them. And she was a proponent of a movement called the simultané movement. And that looked at art as not just in a frame and fixed and solid, but actually representing movement, dance, clothing. She covered cars. She did scene sets for ballets and performances. So the whole idea is that the piece of art is worn, and when it moves, it follows the movement of the body. And for me, with the knit,
so I've always loved this piece behind us. And in fact, I've worn it on quite a few occasions because I really love the way it moves.
Yeah, exactly.
Over the frame. The challenge, of course, in a smaller piece, because not everyone is willing to
make a huge Intaria.
To do a big piece of Intaria.
Absolutely.
So really, this is why
these are so
This is
perfect.
why you were so keen to do a smaller project.
These lovely.
And so
the Sonias and Sophies.
The Sonias and Sophies, which are really perfect smaller pieces, very, very approachable and lovely to knit. Speaking as the knitter, and you speaking as the designer, that's how we do very often work. And the fact that they marry up, don't they?
I just love them.
Yeah.
They're just so much fun. But they are part of that Delanunay feeling of simultané and movement and expression. And you know the true reason behind this, Sheila, is because you know me, I cannot knit two things the same. So if it's socks, sleeves,
don't.
I'm sure some of you will feel the same. These are perfect for that. And the other artist that came more recently, so I got really interested in, is Sophie Taeuber-Arp. Yeah. And she was slightly overshadowed as well by her husband, but actually there's been a retrospective of her work. I do recommend people go and have a look for her. She was Swiss. And again, these amazing symbols, colour, and she worked in so many different forms. She did beautiful embroideries, marionettes, tapestries.
Oh yes, you've always said you wanted to make one of the marionettes.
I want to make a marionette.
So that's a thing.
I made them as a child for a ballet at my school, and just absolutely loved dressing my marionette. You can imagine.
Yeah, I can.
Coppelia, I think it was. So Coppelia, the ballet. So it seemed to me that they were linked, these two women.
Sophie and Sonia.
Sophie and Sonia. Yeah. Sonia and Sophie.
Sonia
so I tried to put elements of both into the design.
Yes.
And you can see it, I think, in here.
In the bigger neck piece. Which you
which is actually somebody said that would make an amazing runner down the middle of a table. You could frame it as well, actually, and have it as an art piece. But it does beautifully join up as well. And I just have to do Sheila knitted it absolutely beautifully. And you can see I just got to do a nice mattress stitch to join it. But I wanted everyone to see the full effect of it. So actually, the mittens, you can knit four colours. These are the colours that I originally chose. There's enough yarn left to actually make the cowl as well.
Yes, no, it all works. I've measured everything down to the last gram, and we're actually not at the last gram in any of the colours. So we does
measure
work.
Everything. Sheila is amazing. Measures, weighs.
It does work.
Everything.
It really does work, and
this is the original colourway.
Yes, and it gives us infinite satisfaction when it works, doesn't it?
It does.
We really love it when it works.
Sometimes I can just look at colours and go, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what happened here. So we've got the beautiful agate, like a stone with
like a pebble,
charcoal.
Yeah,
big contrast, a natural and a really strong contrast. And then, as I'm always saying in colour work, the brights and the light as well. So we've got the furs, this gorgeous yellow, and then the coral.
Yeah.
And then I got to thinking, well, what about some other colours? And actually, these just fell into the equation as well. So we have the lagan, which is the dark.
It's a really, really rich colour because it's a blue-black. It's not a straightforward navy.
Yeah.
And it's very subtle colour in its own way. We do love the lagan.
So that kind of works with that. And the light, we've got this beautiful dahar, this soft blue. And then the kind of
the pops of colours.
We've got the chartreuse, which we love. And then the sea thrift, which is, kind of doing
amazing.
That job of, which Sonia does so brilliantly, the balance of colour and the way colours work together, which you have to be a bit careful of in knit because the knit stitch does something to colour. You can't just paint and then transfer to knit.
Yeah.
You have to kind of sample it and see. But you can see how beautifully Sheila has made this. And as a little thing on Intaria, I always think the backside is, backside, but, well, it is, isn't it? It is. You can see. Sheila, what are your best tips for getting that wonderful?
Well,
there we have the front.
Thing is, I do love Intaria. I really do love Intaria, and I always think it helps terrifically if you love the technique, because then you are going to really have a good go at it and give of your best. But obviously, the thing to remember with Intaria is that you might be knitting the row that you're on, but you're actually working very much towards the next row so that your yarn ends up in exactly the place that you need it to be. And you just need to, as I always used to say at knit club, don't be afraid to pull your stitches quite tightly in, because
when you're transferring from one to the other,
when you're twisting at the back, when you're transferring, because you don't want loose stitches in Intaria. It all needs to be neat.
Give it a tug.
Give it a wee tug.
Give it a wee tug.
Yeah.
Anyway, we really hope you love that and get inspired to look for some Delanunay.
For some more Sonia. Some more Sonia
Sophie.
And Sophie. Yeah. They were brilliant, weren't they?
Yeah.
They really were.
Great women artists.